Welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. There's been a lot of conjecture today over behavior at last night's presidential address. Republicans complaining Democrats were out of order, the yelling, their little signs, the walkouts, Al Green's stunt we all saw. On the other side, though, Democrats say that Trump was being politically divisive, a claim that's being disputed by Republicans and the White House today. But the truth is, Trump's speech last night made no attempt to calm or court Democrats at all. It was a bit divisive. The president gave the American left exactly what they deserve. It was a 100-minute verbal beatdown, hammering their toxic politics, which have rotted our country. They've attacked the president incessantly and unjustly for nearly a decade now. And last night, he gave them the body slam that they have earned. Those pretending to be outraged by Trump's tone and rhetoric last night should be mocked for even feigning outrage over anything. We're going to play you some of Trump last night, some of the best taunts that we saw. And as you listen to this and you hear them screaming about what he said, remember what these people have done to him for the better part of a decade and what it felt like for him to be back in that room. Think about all of that. And remember, they tried to destroy him. They tried to bankrupt him, imprison him, and their false characterizations of Trump nearly got his head blown off last summer. With all that in mind, take a listen to this and think about what it's like to be him back in this room.
Members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back. We've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good. We were allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border insane policies that you've allowed. Once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do.
Anybody who was expecting a unity speech last night from the president, you'd have to be a saint to walk in there and do that and pull that off after what he's been through, and Trump is no saint after all. Last night, the president gave the American left a much-deserved middle finger after a huge victory last November. And the best part is the American people seem to have loved it. A CBS flash poll showing 76% of Americans liked the speech. CBS. Because above all else, it was real. The speech was honest, it was pragmatic. Trump took some swings, but unlike the last term that he had, Americans can now see that he's very justified in taking those swings. For years, Trump's brash behavior was his Achilles tendon. But after the attacks that he has now survived, Americans have a lot more sympathy and empathy for why he behaves the way that he does. And after Biden, Americans can also forgive quite a bit if you can actually run their country like a boss. And that's exactly what's happening right now. After 4 years of absolute idiocy, America is a well-oiled machine. Just 6 weeks after Republicans took control, a competent government feels almost too good to be true. As the sad sack Democrats could do little more than hold up their signs last night, complaining about what? Government audits and common sense immigration policies, wearing pink to feign victimhood, all the ladies of the left. Perpetually on the wrong side of multiple 80-20 issues right now. They cheered for nothing last night. Nothing. Not even a little kid beating cancer.
Us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. In 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago.
Quite a moment right there. And as we slow down what happened right after that moment, you could see Debbie Wasserman Schultz reaction to a little kid who survived 13 brain surgeries. I don't like showing her any more than you like looking at her, but that was the reaction. Trump has broken the American left. They're fully exposed now. All they care about is their own power, and without it, they cannot even muster empathy or compassion for anybody, not even that little kid. Take a listen to MSNBC after Trump made this adorable 13-year-old a Secret Service agent.
For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who's thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that.
So we can't talk about anybody unless we cured them anymore. That was a disgusting spectacle, according to Rachel Maddow. The president just gave that kid the biggest moment of his life. This is what organizations like Make-A-Wish do all the time for kids fighting cancer. You give them a fantastic day because they deserve it. Only somebody as awful as Rachel Maddow has a problem with that. And the funny thing is that almost every politician in Washington does what Maddow is claiming Trump did last night. They hug babies and they use victims of politically convenient tragedies for political clout. Politicians are notoriously awful and insufferable with things like this. How ironic that Trump's popularity comes because he doesn't partake in the insufferable pandering that makes most voters gag, the things that politicians do. If Trump were fake, we would all have smelled it on him long ago, but he's real. He's real, and it's actually an asset, and at times it's also a liability for him, but he doesn't fake any of this. He brings up people that he actually has some kind of connection to. And last night, his personality was gold. It was probably the most fun speech to ever watch from him, and we've seen millions, it feels like. He was hilarious, talking about all the waste and fraud that Elon Musk is finding. Take a look.
$40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+ in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real.
It was fun. Left-wing wackos at USAID taking your money and using it to further their political ideologies around the world, and he just exposed it over and over. He spent like 2 minutes straight just listing off this nonsense. The American people eat it up. DEI in places where white people don't even live. Trans agendas in places that still can't figure out running water. This is what your government is doing with your money. All he did was list it off. And as the president listed off all that waste, Democrats just sat there fuming. So pissed off. Their whole grift going up in smoke. Exposed. 37 million people watched that speech last night, and everyone else saw the clips today on the internet. A new government has arrived, far better than any we have seen in decades in this country. After years of pain, the Republican populist movement has finally hit pay dirt.
The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns under millions and millions of pages of regulations and debt. Approvals that should take 10 days to get instead take 10 years, 15 years, and even 20 years before you're rejected. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.